guys, Anna here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. Today we're in the world of Britechester, which is the world that came with the Discover University expansion pack, and we are building a 4 by 2.5 bedroom family townhouse that's also quite, I would say this is quite an old building. It's definitely an older house. I almost want to say that this particular build potentially has been was a 50s or a late 40s type build. I definitely wanted to use like a lot of architecture that's synonymous for that time, but also the floor plan. So this is a townhouse. It's also it's got a very closed floor plan. It involves a basement, which is really fun. I don't normally add basements to my builds, but I really liked the idea of having a basement in this particular build, especially where the entrance is. It gave me the vibe of an, kind of a downtown English, kind of community lot, potentially like a cafe or something, or where, maybe there's a gentleman's club or something, and you have to go down a set of stairs to get access to said club. It kind of gave me that vibe with having the staircase that goes down to the basement at the front of the build. I really liked that. So this kind of the floor plan for this particular build is based off a combination of a house that I'd seen in real life and also elements of the house that I grew up in, which is really fun. So a little bit about the floor plan, we'll get more into it when we see it, but I love the layout. So we are officially into the month of September, and for the month of September, basically what all of my builds for this month surround by is a story. I really wanted to have a storyline for each one of my builds, and I wanted to build something that really encompassed a story in The Sims, which is something that I don't normally do, but I have been really wanting to build based upon a family. And in this particular home, the storyline behind it is a set of parents. The mother has inherited this home from her parents, so the grandparents of, the children. And it was passed down through generations, hence being an older home, but also like how the home is decorated as well. I use a lot of eclectic items, a lot of kind of dated old-fashioned items. So things that are like old-fashioned from the base game, a lot of basement treasures, and, packs like that really kind of depict the age of the particular build. So we'll get a little bit more into the story in just a second. I do want to touch on the floor plan as we are mapping out the bottom floor. So you walk in and you have this entry kind of hallway where you have the staircase. Through those beautiful stained glass archway, that is where you have a living room. And the entrance to the side yard of the property is actually from that living room, which is not something I've ever done before, but I really liked it in this particular build. Anyway, so from the entrance, you walk down the hall through a main archway that leads into a kitchen. It's a very interesting floor plan where the kitchen is kind of central. And then from the kitchen, you have a dining room, which is its own separate room, which is very common in, I think, a lot of older houses to have, that closed floor plan as in something that I build quite often where it's an open floor plan where you have the kitchen, dining, and living all in one. This is very closed off. And then tucked behind, you have kind of a half bath and a laundry room. I love this. And this is very reminiscent of the home that I grew up in. We had this where we had a half bath, which is just like essentially like a powder room with a laundry. And I thought that was a genius idea in this particular build. So that is the downstairs floor plan. Upstairs we have what do we have? We have 3 rooms and 3 bedrooms and a bathroom. And then we have a second, it's the second full bathroom in the basement and kind of like a teen or a young adult. I think it's a young adult because they're the university student that lives and resides in the basement. All right, so we are now kind of just going over the exterior of the build, just kind of finalizing. We're putting in all the windows. I believe these windows are from Discover Universities. I use the columns that actually came with Businesses and Hobbies because Nordhaven, which is the world that we got with Business Hobbies, is also a European-based world. So I felt that a lot of assets from that pack in terms of the structural, like the building items, so I mean columns, doors and windows, matched perfectly with the items that we got with Discover University, which of course, just it's in that kind of, so like the University of Britechester, that kind of old-fashioned classical type European build. All right, speaking of the upstairs, these are the 3 bedrooms and the bathroom. So you walk up into that foyer area, you have a bathroom. You then have a small child's room, a teen's room, and obviously the master bedroom, which is that larger room at the front of the build that has that beautiful kind of bay window seating. I love it in there. It's gorgeous. I really like how that looks. And that's basically the floor plan. It is a very simplistic floor plan, but I really enjoy it. All right, so I did promise I'd go back to the storyline. So, as I said, so this home has been passed down to the parents of this particular family, but the furniture is very much same. They've kept that style. I almost want to say potentially maybe a grandparent has passed away recently and the furniture is still that dated furniture that the grandparent had, and potentially the children and the parents have just moved in. This is a newly acquired home for them. I like this. Now we're outside and we're just kind of working on the landscaping. So as you can see, I've got this beautiful side yard. It's not very big, and I think I do like a small garden area and some seating. And I think we've put like the clothesline and a couple of trees. It's not a lot of landscaping. It's a very minimally landscaped build because this is actually a fairly small lot. I think this is the lot that has the Pleasant family on it, if I'm correct. And so this particular build actually uses a lot of the lot. So we have some very simplistic type landscaping. All right, so the family, I'm thinking there is a male child, a female teen, and then a female young adult who is who's going to university, I think for like writing or some other kind of creative, topic. And it's very interesting because I love the basement. The basement area is probably my favorite area of the entire house. And I love it because it's just like it's like a combination of like a teen hangout and a really realistic basement. Now, I've said in a previous build that Basement Treasures is a kit that I slept on. It's a kit that I didn't really feel that I need. But now that I have it, this was the first build where I really kind of did a basement with it. And I got to add a lot of the fun things, and I had a lot of ideas. Like I was going to put like a Christmas tree down there and everything because it just felt like the ultimate storage space. I really love the basement portion of this build. You will see that a little bit later, so stay tuned for that. For now, we are just in the living room. And as you can see, this is what I meant by the furniture is quite old-fashioned. I love the lounge set and chair that we got with Discover University. I use this beautiful kind of like, it's an orange, but it's almost kind of like brownish. It's like a burnt color. The rug that's underneath that couch is from, I think it's from Strangerville, potentially. That swatch was amazing. It's a little bit retro, it's a little bit vintage. We've got the old-fashioned paintings. We've got like a kind of standing piano. To me, that would be the type of item. You've got the lamp that comes from Basement Treasures. You've got really dated curtains that I use all around the build. They're base game, and I've pulled the green from the curtains into the pillows. The cushions, the cushions that are on the set. And I just love that space. It's a beautiful room. All right, we are moving into the kitchen. I've used Parenthood counters, and we've gone in with the country kitchen kit for the cabinetry and the appliances. I went with this because they are old, and that again applies. It's telling that story that it was furnished the way that the grandparents very much liked this home, as opposed to, potentially the family, the parents and the children. The lower generation has now moved in. I did that sweet little trick with the mixer where I used one of the base game counters, and I added a mixer onto the counter and made it smaller. That way you can put the counter inside the counter so that you can place the mixer in a more desirable location. So that's a really cute little trick. I cluttered this space up, so I put some cookbooks, I put some plates, used a lot of the kitchen clutter kit. I love this decorated plate object. I use this quite a bit, and there's something about putting it in a cupboard or on top of a fridge that I think is really authentic and is quite realistic. I think that, I always put it in family homes to imply that, if one of the kids made it at school or, something like that. We do have a kind of what they would call a breakfast table, which is a smaller table that's in the center of the kitchen. I did that because there was a lot of empty space and it felt like it needed something. But then obviously you enter out of that room into a formal dining, which is quite sufficient. I've used a little bit of cottage living in here and paired it with some base game. We do make space for a pet. I believe we make space for a cat in this particular build. So the original concept that I had for this build was that it was going to be a crazy cat lady build, and the storyline was going to be based upon a older lady that had like so many cats. And then it just turned into this beautiful family home. I actually really adore this build. It's a home that I would play in. And if you would like to play in this build also, it is available now on the Sims 4 gallery. My gallery ID is Antoinette44. It is in the description below if you need. But yeah, I just fell in love with this build. So I dare say that this is it my favorite build of the month? And that's actually saying quite a lot, because we've got some really good builds coming up in the next couple of weeks. So if this is the type of thing that excites you, please consider subscribing, leave a like and comment, and let me know what you would like to see. So again, all of these builds for this month are based on a storyline, and as we go through each of the builds, I will share that story with you. And I really enjoyed this process. I really enjoyed thinking about the personalities of the Sims that were going to stay and reside in these builds, and I'm really happy with it. All right, we are upstairs. So I'm just kind of decorating that landing space. It's pretty simplistic. It has all the things it usually has. I put in a chess table for some more skill building, and we are now moving into what is the primary bedroom, which is, I guess, where the parents would stay, where the grandparents used to stay potentially. And this is definitely decorated how the grandparents would have liked it. I put in some sunflowers. I still use my favorite claw clip and brush piece. And I've gone in with this bed. So this bed actually comes from Discover University. It's actually a very high energy rating bed, which I think is really awesome for gameplay. And yeah, this is kind of that bay window I was talking about. I just love it. I think it is so pretty to have like a seating area by that bay window. The sim would look out. It kind of gives me like French vibes, or definitely European, which is what this particular world is based off of. I love the bedside lamps that come with Basement Treasures. I've used the older photos. I thought they were perfect in this particular build. The rug comes from Businesses and Hobbies, and I like the pop of red. It just adds a little bit of extra color into the build. And yeah, just a really solid master bedroom. We then move into this very small room that is sandwiched between the master bedroom and the teens room, which is the child's room. It is tiny, but in the scheme of things, it has everything that you need. Bedrooms don't have to be that big. And there are little tricks like using the dresser as a nightstand and things like that, which allows you to get the most use of the space, and you can maximize the amount of space that you have. And yeah, like it depends. When I play The Sims personally, my Sims don't spend a lot of time in their bedrooms. They just really sleep in there or potentially do homework if they're children's Sims. So for me, sometimes having a smaller bedroom is great. This particular room is the size of what I would do a bathroom, just to kind of give you an idea. You couldn't really make this room. You could make it a little bit bigger, but you'd be stealing room from the hallway. So the room would be it'd be longer and not necessarily wider, which, it's fun. All right, we are into that teens room. This is, I've used a single bed in here, which is fine. And this actual bed comes from Discover University. So I did want to use a lot of that pack. There are some items that I really love from Discover University. I love the buffet table, the couches. I think the beds are nice. I think you get a good range of them. There definitely were two distinct styles that came with Discover University. You had kind of like an IKEA-esque furniture, which is where this particular bed comes from, that set. And then you had a very more traditional, I want to say European, Victorian style furniture, which is where the bedside table comes from. It's where that buffet style table comes from. And I wanted to use a combination. So yeah, this teen is creative and, likes the color green. So I've put that in there. And then we are now downstairs into the basement. So this is my favorite section of the build because I don't usually do a basement, and I thought that this was really a fun idea. So I use a base game bed, and I wanted to use that pink kind of shade. So I thought that the ottoman that comes with laundry day was absolutely perfect, a perfect complement to this particular bed. So we've gone in with a dresser, gone in with a desk. We keep it very simple in here, but it's what we do in the hallway of this downstairs that I really love, and I really think it brings it all together and makes this such like a cool little hangout space that, because I think I haven't played Discover University in a really long time, but I'm pretty sure you can have a thing like a keg party and things like that. So I do feel that that's what would be happening in this space. All right, so you can kind of see the downstairs bathroom that I have built there. I do those off camera and show you throughout the tour, so that's why we haven't gone through that. But this is where we are basically just opening the build and buy and putting everything from the basement treasure kit. I have used these beautiful chairs. I've used the old-fashioned TV stand. I will put in a gaming console soon. I have used the worn furniture, photographs, the trolley, stacked chairs. I put in some really old pictures and stuff. And I just think the space is awesome. We put in a keg, as I mentioned, like a keg party, a vinyl player. This particular rug, I believe, comes from Werewolves. It's really worn and torn, and that pairs really well with that kind of stuff. So yeah, I just really love that space. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you enjoy that space? What do you like about this house? Would you play in it? All right, we are in the final stages of this particular build. We are just finalizing the exterior. So we've got a clothesline, and we've got in some gardening plots. I just wanted to kind of spruce up the space. We put in a mailbox, and we should be putting in a bin as well. Yep. What else? I think we put in not a lot of kids stuff. I probably inherently should have put a little bit more kids furniture in this particular build. But yeah. All right, we are live in game and we are going through the tour. So you walk into that lovely little entrance, and this is just kind of like a formal hallway that has the staircase landing in it. You then walk into the living room, which has access to the side yard, into the kitchen, the color scheme changes all through the house. You have blues, yellows, oranges, greens. Into the formal dining, into the laundry and half bath, which does have a litter box. I actually have to check if that's functional for that toilet. You go upstairs into the landing space, which has your chest table. You have your upstairs bathroom. I think I am just putting a bookcase in here, just a bit empty. Love this bathroom, really pretty up there. Into the teens room and the kids room. Into the master bedroom, really lovely. Oh, just missing a curtain. And then I believe we will be going downstairs into, yep, so you've got the basement. So you go down the stairs, you have that beautiful area where they hang out. You've got that storage component to this build. That is the downstairs bathroom. And that young adults room, I guess, the final bedroom of the build. I believe we are just putting some clutter on this desk. And are we missing anything else? Oh yes, I wanted to put some like cat stuff. So I put like a cat tree down here. I think at this point I'd forgotten to put something in for the cat. And I also put an additional burglar alarm because they do need it in both entrances. So I've added that in there. And I think I'm just putting some extra clutter in the exterior, in that kind of seated area. Oh, this is beautiful. It's just like a little teacup piece. It's not functional, but it seems really realistic for this exterior. And that is the build today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have watched till the end, I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.